Hi, and thanks for tuning in to My Next Guest Is for another episode of 5 Minutes with AJ. Today's episode is titled Channels, Channels Everywhere, Nor Any Ear to Hear. So, I'm confused. And that means I'm sure anyone else out there is probably confused also, because getting content created and getting it out there and finding the right place to do it can be very, very confusing. So the host for this show is Anchor.fm. If anyone's ever looking to get into this type of industry, I recommend Anchor.fm. They're an excellent hosting company. I'm very happy. But that's sort of like the base place where these exist. This is where it's all created within their app and whatnot. And then once I post something there, after I posted the first one, they auto-added me to Spotify and then to Breaker and pocketcasts and radiopublic and overcasts. Now, I'll be honest, those last 4 I'd never heard of before, at least before doing this. Apparently, I went to go get subscriptions, but apparently they are all mobile apps. And then finally, I got most recently added, I got a notice we were added to Google Podcasts. Now, that's a big deal. Very happy about that. Welcome, Google Podcast listeners. Of course, the brass ring here is Apple Podcasts, but they're very clear in saying that it takes a while before that process takes a while to get onto Apple Podcasts. But so that is all without my doing. I mean, I suppose I could tell them not to share the content there, but all that gets taken care of automatically. And then I decided to try and get the word out a little further than that, that I would start to post the audio files to my personal Instagram IGTV channel. Now, I imagine that if there's ever anyone who sits in for me in the 5 Minutes with AJ, or if anyone ever hosts an episode of My Next Guest Is, where we have a guest, if it weren't me hosting, I wouldn't put them on my own personal IGTV. That's just for me. But My Next Guest Is does have its own YouTube channel. And so it's posted there as well. But I was in for a little surprise in that it wouldn't let me post an audio-only file. And having done many presentations in my life, I put together a PowerPoint slide and took that and the audio file and I tossed it into iMovie and did a little bit of transitioning and whatnot and created the video that you see as the first video. I replicated that a second time. And the video takes longer, right? So I'm able to get the podcast out right away. The video usually gets put out a couple hours later, depending on when I record. So now I'm on IGTV and I'm on YouTube. So there's just a lot of content out in different places, and it can get a little confusing as to tell people where to go to look for the content. And I'm sort of getting tired of saying all that stuff I'm going to say at the end in the closing in order to get the word out to where people are. I mean, options are nice, but it can be confusing. So I'm going to start looking at metrics and see where we get the most listens and views from, and maybe start winnowing things down. Of course, then I wanted everything, some singular place where you could go and find everything in one place. something static that would have a list of all the different episodes. And, if you have a Google account, you have a Google Sites account. So I created a website for My Next Guest Is. So lots of content all over the place, channels everywhere. We don't quite have the listeners yet, but we'll get them and figure out where to focus posting at that point. Well, I can see I'm over 5 minutes already, so I guess the whole 5 minutes with AJ is a big lie. But then again, anyone who knows me personally knows that's why it's like you'll never get AJ to stick within 5 minutes. But anyway, that is it for now. Do you have a preference as to where you'd like to find these episodes? Is it better to be available on all of the channels or just focus only on a few? Do you have any other thoughts on today's content or something you'd like to hear me ramble on about, or a guest or topic that you'd like to see us have a guest on? Please feel free to leave a comment in any of our episodes. There's a message board at anchor.fm. That's anchor.fm/mynextguestis. You can also leave them in the comments on Facebook. Oh yeah, that was another channel I didn't mention before. On Facebook, at least for now, we're there. That's fb.me/mynextguestis. We're also on Twitter at mynextguestis. Now you can find the videos created for the podcast on my own IGTV channel. That's instagram.com/AJ Kelton, or the My Next Guest Is YouTube channel, which you could find at bit.ly/5MWAJ capital YT. And that's a sort of it's 5. MWAJ is 5 minutes with AJ. YT is YouTube channel. So if you're on Spotify, please follow me there, or find our podcasts via Google Podcasts. And as I said, the podcast mobile apps Breaker, Overcast, Pocketcasts, and radiopublic. But if you want to find everything all in one place, you can now check it all out at bit.ly/MNGIHOME. That's My Next Guest Is Home, MNGIHOME. As always, all of these links will be in the episode description. Thanks again for listening. Be good to yourself and be good to each other.